Ladies and gentlemen,
this is the one we've all been waiting for. It's good night, freaking Irene!
let's get ready to rumble!
Time! And knows how to knock people the fire truck out.
So, Savvas, welcome.
Thank you for having me on.
An elite level Muay Thai fighter. You're from Cyprus? Okay.
I'm full Cypriot. But everybody asks me where do I get good English from. My mom's half Canadian.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, she's from Toronto, but I grew up in Cyprus.
Well, I also noticed on the Liam podcast you say mate a lot too. That's not from Canada.
Nah, when I speak to somebody from the UK, I don't know, I just kind of get into the dialect and it just comes out naturally. You know what I mean?
And then the only other person we had, Dave was living in Cyprus. Dave Leduc.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He does what's it called?
Litway.
Litway.
Yeah, Litway.
Yeah.
But he was living in Cyprus. I don't know if he still is, but he was living there when we had him.
I haven't seen him here before.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful over there.
Yeah. Man, it's a bit laid back, so that's why it's cool. You know, it's like an island. It's island life. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah. So, how old are you now?
I'm 21.
21.
Yeah.
And you've accomplished a whole hell of a lot in Muay Thai.
Well, that's what people say, but for me, it's just like I don't know.
You're still going, obviously, but I mean,
I'm not satisfied. To me, it seems like it's nothing.
Then to the Thais, it's normal.
I mean, because I grew up with it. I say I grew up because I've been in Thailand since I was 15. You know, so I feel like I grew up with the Thais. So what I've accomplished to me is just nothing. Like as the Thais would feel. You know, I'm used to it.
So
I'm used to feeling.
We like to ask, how did you start on like your martial arts journey? Like, where did that come from?
All right. So in Cyprus, when I was like 6 years old, like it was time when my parents were seeing like what sport they're going to get me into. And in Cyprus, soccer is really famous. So all the kids get into soccer in Cyprus. So every single kid. So then they're like, what do you want to do? And I was never into soccer. I wanted to do something else. So my dad was involved in karate. My dad used to live in Canada, so he used to train karate there and like go to competition and stuff. So I was like, hey, I want to give a karate a try. So my dad's like, okay, let's go. Let me take you to a karate school. I went to karate school, and then I didn't like how there was no full contact. Like the teacher was telling me off, like I couldn't touch the other guy. So after my first karate class, I was like, nah, I don't like this. I want to leave. So one day we were watching TV, and my dad used to love martial arts in general. So he put on, like, remember the K1 Max days?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that happened to be on Eurosports, I remember. So we were watching the K1 Max. I was like, hey, Dad, I want to do this. I want to try this. So then he looked in Limassol, and we found a gym. It was called Lumpini Gym.
Yeah.
And that's where I went. I went to Lumpini Gym when I was 6 years old and just never stopped since.
You can't get a cooler name than that.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I actually followed them and I followed them on Instagram before.
Yeah.
And then I met you, and then I was like, oh, well, that's in Cyprus, and Savvas from Cyprus, but you were still in Thailand. And then when you went back, I was like, oh, so he trains at that gym. I get it.
Yeah.
And so what prompted you to get over to Thailand?
Well, I started when I was 6 years old. I was only going to Muay Thai because I had to go at some point. So I liked it at first, but then when training started, and I didn't like it because it was hurting my body, and I would get injured. And back then in Cyprus, sparring was allowed. Like we would spar to the head, hit each other in the head. It was all like that in Cyprus. But only a few years later did they stop that from the kids. So I was really scared. So I would go in the ring, I would cry and all that. So from 6 to, let's say 7, I didn't like it, but I happened to fight though. Like once I closed 7 years old, I think, or maybe 6.5, a guy in my gym got injured. So I had a fight, and it was a last minute fight. So I was home. My trainer called my mom. He's like, "Hey, about this happened. Can you bring Savvas to fight?" And I was like, "Okay, let's go." So my mom took me, and then I beat the other guy, and that's when I fell in love with the sport. So yeah, so 6 till like 12, I was fighting everybody. I was winning. And like my amateur career, I have a really good amateur career. I'd fight anybody, I'd win. I went to the World Championships. I won a few gold medals. And then at 13 is like when I ran out of like opponents to like fight on amateur, let's say.
Yeah.
Like, because I beat everybody from like till 16, 17 years old on the amateur side. So then at 13, I turned professional. And I had my first professional fight at 13. And yeah, then that's when I started to fight like different guys. Let's say from Greece, I would fight Greece's best fighter. And they were all older guys. So I was like 13, 14. I was fighting guys who were 24, 22.
Oh, wow.
And I was winning. Yeah, and I was winning. So I'd win somebody from Lebanon, win somebody from Greece, win somebody in the UK, win, you know. And then there was just a time that I lost my like motivation. Like there was nothing left for me to like, there was no reason. And then also the level in Cyprus, the training, I started to understand that it was low, and you know, I needed more. I needed everything more. Like they couldn't offer me anything more here in Cyprus. So I went for my first trip to Thailand. No, I've been going to Thailand actually. I went to the World Championships. They were in Thailand. But I would never go to Thailand to train and to do a professional fight. I would just go to fight for the World Championships and then come back home. And then, so then after a few fights, then I just went to Thailand for like training to check it out. And then I understood that, okay, look, I'm still a baby in the game. Like,
Yeah.
I'm good in Cyprus and I'm good in Europe, let's say, but I'm not good for here. So that's when I knew, like, this is what I want to do. I want to move over here and I want to take it really serious.
At what age?
What age did I make my mind that I want to become a fighter?
Yeah.
First time I made my mind that I wanted to be a professional fighter was when I was 11 years old.
No shit.
We were in Thailand and my trainer took me to Lumpini Stadium to watch fights. And then that's when I was like, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like Kurt had gone to Thailand a few times before me, but I think it was 2015 that him and it was my first trip over there, and we met up, and we were in Bangkok, and I was like, have you gone to the fights yet? I'm like, let's find Muay Thai. It was literally like our first few days, first few days there, and I'm like, let's find Muay Thai. And we went to Raja, and once you go, man, like the energy, at Raja they had fences all around. Like exactly, and people it was like Mad Max. It was wild, and
exactly
the betters, and this was nothing that I have ever experienced, and it was just the smell of the Thai oil. Like as soon as you go in, it was just an amazing experience. So I could imagine as a young kid that's already in the sport, and you're like, oh, this is it. Like this is it.
That's I fell in love with it. So I came back to Cyprus, and I went to my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't want to go to school no more. I want to be a fighter. And she was like. She knew I was in love with it because I was obsessed as a kid. Like all I ever cared was training. I mean, I didn't care about anything else. Like I did go through phases of not liking training, or let's say I'd play a video game and get it too. But I would always find my way back to Muay Thai. You know, like I'd do something. Let's say play a video game for a month. I'd play a lot of it, and then after a month, I'd be like, okay, what am I doing? I need to train. So it was kind of something like that. So she knew. So we made a deal. So it was like, okay, you're not going to be good at school because you're going to train a lot, but I want you to train like a full-time fighter. I want you to wake up before school, go running, and then all that. So I was dedicated since a kid.
Oh, that's amazing. And so when did you say you had your first fight? What pro fight?
Pro, 13 years old.
So at 13, when you turn pro, like I understand what it is in MMA and things like that, but in Cyprus you turn pro in Muay Thai. Does that just mean you're at that pro level now? You're getting paid for it?
Well, yeah, you could say it like that. But in Muay Thai, we kind of say we took off the protection now. Like there's no protection. Like there's elbows, and it's just bare bones. Let's say that's what I mean. Like
okay, so it's full Muay Thai rules with no safety equipment. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, but still at 11, I have two nephews, and one of them's 7, one's 9, and there's no way in hell that they would like I was coaching at a gym here, and I had my nephew going, and he'd rather come home and play the iPad and all that stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Well,
like,
yeah, the generation. I think like not in Thailand, but like the rest of the world, the generations are changing. Even with the kids, like when I was younger, we'd go sparring, like we'd try kill each other. Now there's not so much of that now. Like I feel that kids are more soft now.
definitely.
That's what
Unfortunately,
I do feel that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only in Thailand it stayed hardcore. That's what I think.
But even, the technology has affected a lot of the kids in Thailand too. I mean,
Yeah,
not necessarily the ones that their parents really want to get them into fighting, or they have a lineage of fighting. Like
Yeah.
I remember going into Sityodtong in Pattaya the first time I went there, and there's this little chubby kid. He had to be 6, 7 years old, and he was jumping rope like Rocky. And he was just like, wouldn't get tired. And he's looking at me like bouncing on the tire, getting tired. And he's like laughing at me. And then I did almost my whole training session, and he was like warming up. I'm like, and just keep going. I've seen a little kid cry in the ring, but they don't let him stop. They just keep going.
Yeah, but it's different. Like they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And when you're, I think when you're hungry, or like there's nothing else. I mean, I think there's like another instinct comes out without realizing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So you went over. All right. So how did school go?
So yeah, school. How was my school year? So school, I was just basically doing everything and anything to pass a year, and all. I would just wait for Muay Thai. That's all. Like school, I was never into school. I'm being really serious. I didn't like it. I felt like been wasting my time. Like I had other dreams, and then they were teaching me music. Like why am I doing music when I want to train Muay Thai? I felt it was just a waste of my time.
Yeah.
Like, or I was doing these weird math stuff, and then I was thinking like, why am I doing this when I want to learn how to elbow people in the head? Like my mind was somewhere else.
But if you knew now, you'd be like, oh, now I know betting odds, and I know the rhythm of Muay Thai with the music. Like it'll tie back in. But they weren't teaching us that way. They were teaching us shit that, we were like, I don't give a damn about how to do a checkbook. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Algebra, those are letters, not even numbers. Come on.
Exactly.
So you got through school, and then how did you convince your mom that you could go to Thailand?
No, so basically I came to a point where like I was 17, and I was like, we were out of time in my career. I couldn't find any fights. I had no training partners in Cyprus. I wasn't leveling up. And then I already been to Thailand at 15. When I told you, when I went to Thailand at 15 years old, or 15 years old, yes, I was training at Petchyindee, and a boy happened to get injured. So Bolt was like, "Hey, do you want to jump on the Lumpini show?" So when I was 15, yeah, I had my first fight in Thailand at Lumpini, which was my dream come true.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a crazy experience. So I happened to knock the boy out round 2, and I knocked out the guy, Bolt's my manager, by the way, the owner of Petchyindee. So he told me, he was like, jab, left knee. And I done it, and I knocked the guy out. So then he was like, okay, I really want you to go back home and then come back when you can. I'll be waiting for you with your sponsorship. So that I was in Cyprus for 1 or 2 years, and I was like, I had that on my mind. Like, I want to go to Thailand.
Yeah. Well, you already had a knockout in Lumpini. I mean,
like, so imagine, I was 15 years old. I had a knockout in Lumpini, and I was sitting in school, like my mind.
Oh God, I couldn't even see that working. No, I mean, there's
my mom saw that,
Yeah, I mean, we have multi-level champions, lion fight champions, or glory champions that have never done that. And it's like at 15, 16 years old, you've already got that chalked up, and you're, go back to school. What the?
No.
Come on. No. What am I going to do there? I'm going to knock out.
Yeah, not only I didn't like school for many reasons. I felt like most of the teachers, like I didn't, because I believe in positive energy a lot. I didn't like how they were all like trying to brainwash me, like, oh, what are you going to do with your life? You can't be a fighter. You can't do this.
Yeah.
And I hated the thoughts of like listening to them. I didn't want to hear them. I didn't want to talk to them. I was like, all I wanted to do was train and fight and win. That's all I care about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think with Muay Thai, that sparks that in a lot of us, the positive energy thing. So it's like Muay Thai, it's so respectful. There's such deep tradition in it.
Yeah.
And then once you get immersed in Thai, like Muay Thai, like in Thailand, it's like it reshaped me as a person. Like all I wanted to do, like I don't engage in anything negative. I don't put out negative. If you're a negative person, oh cool, go do you. I got no time for that, you know. And that changed once I started really, like I would go to Thailand 3 times a year. You know, I'm basically moved there. I sold my business, and that's where when I met you, I was already over there. I came back.
So you want to live there now?
Yeah, and I was in Pattaya. I had a condo, everything, but I came back for a visa, and then now we're stuck here.
Oh, all right. So you
can't leave for a while.
Yeah. I was in Pattaya, and I was traveling around, just visiting different gyms, training with different people. I trained at Petchyindee. I was supposed to train with your crew Watt, but it was a day before a holiday. I scheduled it with him, and then they had fights on the same day. And so he had to leave, like, so they were like, oh, and I ended up training with one of the fighters who really didn't give a shit. It wasn't one of the main guys that I knew. I don't know. I don't remember who the kid was, but like at first he was watching TV. He's like run, and I'm like, okay, so I'm running, and it was like 15 minutes, and I'm like, I'm jogging in I'm getting dizzy, like in the gym by the rings.
That happened in Thailand a lot, you know, like some people like it's like they're bored to do their job, and they, you know, it happens a lot.
So you went over, and I met Boat a couple times at the fights. I went with Khalil to the Raja anniversary show.
All right,
that you had, you know, your team had all the fighters on, and Boat put that on, right? Yeah. So Boat is a staple in Muay Thai. And it was his father also, right?
The biggest Thai promoter in Thailand, for sure.
Yeah.
It was his father. His father was the biggest, and now, like, Boat's carrying on the legacy and, like, changing the game, let's say, bringing it to the modern world, you know?
And that's what I tell people when they ask me, you know, about the gyms that I visited. And like, Petchyindee is, like, the one gym that has that traditional Muay Thai. But then the modern heart rate monitors, like all of the stuff that makes a modern fighter too, and it's very the rooms and everything.
That's why it's good, you know. Like he's you know, because he's younger and he's like he's basically changing the game, and you know you need it. All the stuff that he's doing, it has to happen. You know, if you stay with the old school mentality, you're just gonna go downhill. Right. You know, like technology is coming. You know, foreign fighters are leveling up, so like they're trying to keep up. You know. Yeah, especially for you guys moving over to one championship and the bigger organization. Exactly, you know, that's a different game, you know, like, you know, it's not Muay Thai no more. It's it is Muay Thai, but it's different, you know, it's more like a striking fight, you know what I mean?
It's Muay Thai rules set as far as what's allowed striking.
Exactly.
But
it's striking.
But judging isn't the same, the rounds aren't the same, like the atmosphere is just not the same. I mean, we'll get into that with you, but so when were you ready to leave Cyprus and go back? Well, obviously, as soon as you got back to Cyprus, you wanted to go back to Thailand.
So my mom, like, I think it's time. I need to go, and then basically one day I just packed my bags up and just left. I mean, that's it. Yeah.
I met your mom too, didn't I?
Yeah. That's actually probably her first time in Thailand.
Really? Yeah, I remember her at the show. Yeah. Who was the girl? Was that your sister that was with you, or one of the girls from the gym?
Probably one of the girls from the gym.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was cool. So, mom says yes. You get on a plane. Do you know that you're going right back to Petchyindee Gym?
Yeah, I went straight to Petchyindee, and then that's when. So when I think I was 16, and that. To be honest, like I went to stick, and that's when my life changed. Like I really understood how hard it is to be a fighter. Yeah. Because I went to Thailand, I arrived in the afternoon, and then the next morning I had to be at training. So I and then 5:30 I was up and ready for the run, and then started training, and then my body was just crashing. I was exhausted, and I was like, fuck, how am I gonna do this? Like, this is hard. And then I was like, maybe it's too hard for me, maybe I can't do it, you know. My body was tired. I was going through it was my first time away from home, living away, and I was in Thailand. I didn't know what to eat. I didn't know how to communicate with the Thais. It was just a nightmare, to be honest, at the beginning. But yeah, after a year, I started like adapting to everything, and then I started falling in love with Muay Thai again, because I feel that I kind of fell out of love with Muay Thai for that year, because it was just too hard. You know what I mean? Like, it was too hard. It was, to be honest, and training back then was different. It was old school, like running in the morning, running in the night. My toes were bleeding. I was just like in a mess, and I was like feeling like, why am I doing this? Like, what for? And then I would have a fight. I would get paid so little money, like, you know, and I was like, why? I'm going through so much injuries, and like, for what? And like all those lonely nights. It was just kind of hard at the beginning.
Yeah. So the morning run, that's like a lore of Muay Thai in Thailand. Like, people,
Exactly.
when I tell them, I'm like, you don't realize, like, you're warming up for 10 minutes. In Thailand, when you go to train as a fighter, you're running 10, 15K before you train.
Exactly.
And then you're going and you're training, you're eating lunch, going to sleep, and then doing it again at night. And people are like, what? That's insane. And I'm like, yeah. And I mean, but a lot of the fighters, like you're saying, they come from little to nothing. It's changing now because you get fame from it too.
Exactly.
But before, like, you know, probably right when you started, that you still had, well, Pet Morakot and Pet Dam, both of them come from like a not a wealthy village, right?
No,
and they're fighting.
Very poor.
They
come from nothing, actually. They come from nothing, you know.
Yeah.
They're like, that's why I'm telling you, like, whatever I'll do, I'll never feel satisfied, because I see these guys, you know, like, they're always like, you know, they made some money from fighting, but they're giving it all to their family, you know, like, they'll never become like cocky fighters or anything. Their feet are always on the ground, you know. It's like, it's amazing, you know, see those guys, and then look at European or foreign fighters in general, America. They make money, and all they care about is buying a watch and looking good and like showing off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I met both of them, and they're just like super nice guys, funny as hell, like always joking, and it's like, all right. And then I've seen some things, and they're like, yeah, they don't come from much. They're best friends. They take care of their families, and it's like, how can that not be inspiring to people? You know, and but we still have fighters that get into it, and they're like, I'm doing it to get the UFC. You know, I know a lot of people that have gone to the UFC and hate it. you know, you think that once you go there that you're going to be a millionaire.
Well, you know that, I mean, people hate, well, you know, like, I mean, I know there's a lot of talks. I mean, I think there's bad and good in everywhere. You know, you can say you fight at Raja, you hate Raja. You can hear people who fight at Lumpini, hate fighting at Lumpini. One championship, one time, but UFC. I just think people shouldn't think of it as like where you're fighting. As long as if you can fight, and if you can get at least some money to do what you love, I mean, that's it. Like, go in there and, like, instead of focusing on hating their organization, just go in there and fucking win. Just think about winning. That's all I think about. But even sometimes at home.
I don't know. Hold on. Can't hear you.
Okay, yeah.
Now I can hear you. I didn't hear what you just said.
Yeah, you got cut out.
Oh, sorry. Oh, what I mean is, like, I know if people hate this and that. Just like, I mean, I just care about. I don't like when I hear people like moan about stupid stuff from an organization. It's just like, just go in there and win. That's it. Just think about winning. If you don't win and then you lose, and then okay, you come back just again and again. That's it.
But that's it's a mentality that, unfortunately, with contracts and being at the higgest level, it is like there's a lot of unfair stuff in the business, and then obviously, like, but there's nothing you can do, and it's like, right,
what can you do though? You know what I mean?
a lot of fighters now go in not to lose too.
Exactly.
And so, like, oh, I got to keep my contract. I can't lose, so I do enough to not lose. Whereas that's why I still love Muay Thai. Is when we ask a fighter about their Muay Thai record, a Thai fighter, like, I would consider you a Muay Thai fighter, not just a foreign fighter. And I would say, how many fights do you have? I don't say Americanized, how many fights have you won? That's what we ask in the States. Like when you ask an MMA fighter, how many fights did you win? After being in Thailand so long, you realize it's like, how many fights have you had? How many battles have you been in? Because you already know that 99% of the time a Thai fighter is giving all they have to win.
Yeah.
Like it's a different mentality, and we just be like, oh, how many fights did you have? So how many fights have you had? How many have you had total so far?
Okay, because I don't count the amateurs and the professionals. Like my amateur fights I have 107.
Oh, wow.
And professional I have 46.
Still, I mean, look at that. Ask an MMA fighter to have 46, all of their fights.
Yeah.
And people are like, yeah, but it's different. Have you ever caught an elbow to the head?
It's not that it's different. It's just that if we got paid the same as MMA fighters, we wouldn't fight as much too. I mean, it just has to do with money, you know. Like, I believe if Thai fighters got better paid, they wouldn't fight as often.
I mean, how much does Sanchai make? And he fights a lot. He's got it.
He doesn't make as much. He doesn't make as much, I think, as Pet Morakot or some superstar.
Really?
One time.
Well, and one, yeah. I don't know.
You know what I mean? So one is changing the game. Do you see like people are fighting 4 times a year, but still, it's still the whole game is still growing. Like one championship has only been around for 3 years now with Muay Thai, and it's still growing. And the only reason I'm blessed, like one championship came over and took over the sport, is because it's offering fighters a platform to really become famous. They're investing in the fighters, you know, they're paying the fighters more money than stadiums, you know. As much as cool as Lumpini and Raja sounds, they're amazing. It's amazing to fight there. It's a dream to fight there. But, you know, when you do a few fights and you only get paid, like, let's say, $1,500 for it to fight the max, and that's still, you have to beat 20 guys to make that money.
Yeah.
You know, you love it, but then you're like, okay, you know, I'm growing up and I'm like, what am I going to do for my future and all that? You know what I mean? So as much as you love it, there comes a point when you're like, okay, but you do need money to survive. Do you know what I mean? If we didn't need money and I would choose like where to fight only, I'd just fight Raja and Lumpini every month. I wouldn't care about one championship. I wouldn't care about nothing because I love it there. That's all I want to do. But because we do need money, that's, you know, it's like I can't do the stadium part forever.
Well, you can't fight forever. So I mean,
well, you gotta kind of. I'll fight as long as my body takes it. Yeah. I'll fight till my body can or anything, you know.
So you get over there, and now you're hating life because you're doing. You're running around the Grand Palace at 5 a.m.
And that's every day. Yeah,
and then it was funny is like when Khalil told me about that, I'm like, but where's the gym? Because it's not that close. And he's like, yeah, but we have to run from the gym to around the Grand Palace and then back.
Yeah, man, it's a nightmare. It's not easy at all. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm like, they don't give you a ride to the where you got to run. He's like, nope, we run all the way there around it. And he's like telling me that you had to run it around it like for a certain amount of time, and you know the guys are like challenging each other and stuff like that. So I was like, man, it's insane. So then, what triggered you to kind of be like, oh, I get it, and fall back in love with it?
Well, when I met my trainer, Ajahn Watt, when I met my trainer, I started like becoming so much better. Like he just believed in me and just changed my whole way of like. I love training again. Like it was hard, but I don't know. I felt how good I was becoming. I was becoming obsessed with becoming better and better and better. And then I started. All I was thinking about, okay, I want to win, and then I want to win, and then I want to win the next one. And then if I lose, I was like, okay, let's go on to the next one. Like, just meeting Ajahn Watt, adapting, you know, it just takes time. And then I started bonding with the Thais, and I started liking the Thai food, and then I started liking the lifestyle. So, and then, you know, obviously when I came back to Cyprus one time for holiday, and I was like, I came back for a month to see my parents and to see, you know, my friends and all that. I was like, you know what? I like Cyprus for a holiday now, you know? It's just a holiday. It's not home no more.
Yeah.
So, it just changed. And then, you know, as my friends were getting older, everybody went to study, to go to university. I was like, oh, I don't like that life. I like the life after.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're younger, you know, like even now I'm young, but, you know, when you're younger, you go through some, like, different phases, you know, like, you know, your friends are all studying, and then you're in Thailand alone, and they're having fun. They're sending you all these videos, and then you're just stuck in Thailand. you do, it messes with your head, you know.
I can imagine being young. I mean, because
You miss out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Being a fighter, you miss out on a lot of stuff. Like,
starting at the age you did, you committed at such a young age that you kind of traded in a passion that you really weren't sure that you had. I mean, yeah, you had a passion, but it was like on and off, and I mean, you traded that in.
It was never on and off, like not sure. I always knew I was going to be a fighter.
Yeah.
Just living in Thailand was hard. That's all. I just wanted to find out. I wasn't going to leave. There was no way I was going to leave. I just was trying to figure out how am I going to love it.
Yeah. So when did you start understanding Thai? Like, how long did that take?
That was after like 2 years. Being there 2 years, I started to understand. Because when I was there was nobody to speak English with. For the 2 years, I had, it was different. Yeah.
That would have been really hard.
Yeah.
Like you can get like one word out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you have Ajorn Watt, and he kind of transforms you, like triggers this stuff in you that, oh, now I'm getting better. And are you fighting for the whole first year also?
Yeah, of course. Every month I've been fighting.
Yeah. And so to kind of get people to understand, you're a foreigner, you get to Thailand. Yeah, you had your win at Lumpini, but that doesn't really register in the grand scheme of.
No, it wasn't registered. That when you know, like I fought at Lumpini, let's say 4 times, and then Raja 5 or 6, and then I fought in another stadium, Rangsit, where the Truth for You happens. I fought there around like 8 times, and then I fought Top King. It's just in Thailand, it's not where you fight, it's who you beat, and what show you fight him. You can beat somebody ranked number 5 at Lumpini. You can fight him at Raja. It's just who you beat.
Yeah.
Depends who you beat, what shows you fight on, who's your promoter. It all depends on those stuff.
Yeah, I have a friend that she owns a company here in the States who's Thai, and I went to Raja. I went to Raja with her, and she's like very connected with WBC, and it was funny is because she was going in, and we got in like VIP, let in for free because of her, and they weren't going to let me in. They were like, we don't let foreigners in for free. And she's like, he's with me, and he has to come in. And they were like, all right. And we were sitting in Raja, like in this little room, but it had all the betting odds, and then it had the roster on this like a whiteboard. And then you saw like promoters coming in and out and talking about different things. It was like, whoa, there's like a whole dynamic that goes on behind just people coming and fighting. You know, matchmakers, all that stuff.
It's a massive business. It's a massive. Yeah. It's not an easy one to do. It's big.
So you get in there, and so say in your first year, to kind of give people an idea of like, what is a Muay Thai fighter, a foreign Muay Thai fighter that nobody knows? What are you making?
What do you mean?
Like, how much money are you making for a fight?
I was making up to like $200 a fight.
Yeah.
But once it started 200, 300, 400, then it got up to 500. It just kept going up. And then the stadiums, the most I made, I think, was $2,000.
Yeah.
The most I made in stadiums.
So once you hit that turn, were you with Boat the whole time? So you were with Boat the whole time, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Petchyindee's I have a contract with them, but they're like the gym I trust and I'm loyal to. You know, I don't change gyms. I trust my trainers. I trust my managers. You know, like they built me into what I am today. So like I'm committed to them too. You know.
Yeah. No, I could see when I visited there, it's like very family.
Yeah, it's a big family. So like I'm they're my family too now. You know, I couldn't imagine going to another gym or competing against Petchyindee. So
right. You can compete against all of their rivals.
Exactly. They're like my brothers, you know. I'm not going to fight my brother, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and so were you accepted by them? Like, how long did that take?
Yeah, very. I was very accepted because, you know, it's also my character. I'm not, you know, when you go to Thailand, you can't disrespect their culture, you know. I knew I was in Thailand and I'm going to accept their culture. This is what I'm going to do from now on. Like, you know what I mean? I respected their culture.
All right. I have a quick question that just popped in my head. In 2015, how old were you? 20 or 16, 17? None of us took math very serious.
Yeah. Wait.
It's 2021.
17
Years ago. He's about
Oh,
15,
so I was
right?
probably 15.
You
Probably
have a,
14, closing 15.
you have a big
Or-
Sakyant on your back in a
Yeah.
video from 2015.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I was 15, I had my first tattoo.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
I was watching one of your fights and I'm like, 2000. I know he's not old. When the hell did he get that? It's like a pretty good sized tattoo in the middle of your back. I was like, holy
obsessed
shit.
with Saint-Piant. I was like, oh, I'm just going to go get it done. I can't wait no more. It was another goal when I was young and I saw it at Lumpini. I was like, I'm just going to get it done. I couldn't wait. I still don't regret it. I still love it.
I got my head done. I have one on the back of my head.
Wow.
I
That
did
was
it.
painful.
Well, they did it with the bamboo, so it wasn't really
Yeah.
painful. I did it the same place that Khalil got like his last couple over in Phuket, and
Okay.
it was really cool. But like, I took
Yeah.
Khalil there. He was like, "Man, this place is dope," and the guy was super chill, and it was like a really nice atmosphere. And they did it. He does it with bamboo. All right, so you get in there, and then how often are you fighting once you're like back falling
Every
in
month.
love with it?
Every
Every
month.
month? Yeah.
Every month.
Have you had any big injuries in that
Yeah,
coming
when
up
I-
stage?
Coming up, no. But my first big injury was against Lerdzilla in one championship.
I met you. See, that's why I remembered. I was like, wait a minute. We were talking about that because you were like, yeah, I'm fighting Lordzilla next. And then you said after that fight, you were supposed to have a Lumpini title challenge.
Yeah, I was fighting for the and then that's
Because
what
I had
happened.
just trained with Lordzilla in Phuket, like
Yeah.
2 weeks before, and you were like, oh, I'm fighting him. I'm like, wow, that's like obviously there's a bunch of big names that you've fought, but he's
Yeah.
kind of like he transfers over to the Westerners and things like that.
He's
like
probably
him.
one of the biggest fighters in the world. You know, he's like up
Yeah.
there with Sanchai. He's the
Exactly.
legend of the legend,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Even like
so that was my biggest. That was like a freak injury. Like I still to this day don't know exactly what happened. It broke
Yeah.
my heart to be honest, because for that fight I probably trained. I don't know. I can't explain how much I trained. Like I was probably training in my sleep too. You know what I mean? Like I trained my heart out, and I was 100% ready to win that fight. Like I was confident. Like I walked into that cage confidence to win. And then it was just like round 2 was like the round where I was gonna start working out the game plan Boat had for me, you know, and we were gonna start pushing. And then he just picked me up and threw me, and my elbow just dislocated. It was a freak night. It was like whoa, what happened, you know?
yeah, it's one of those things. Like
Yeah.
you can't.
He is good, but I mean, I don't know. I was confident. Right.
Well, you're ready to win. I mean, you can't go into the fight
Oh,
thinking that he's
exactly,
bigger than
exactly.
anything. I mean, he's stepping in
Yeah.
the same cage with you, so
Exactly,
That was pretty cool. I mean, do you have any fights coming up that like really stick out that you were like, man, that was like a pivotal moment?
What do you mean? Like, do I have
Like
more?
and when you were fighting, you know, before you got to 1, like, is there what fights kind of stick out that you're like, man, that was
Winning
one
the
that
Toyota
kind of really
Marathon was
defined me.
fun. Winning
What's
the
that?
Toyota Marathon, do you know the Toyota?
Yeah,
That was 3
yeah.
fights in one night. That was amazing to win. That was like fuck. That was like you know, they're all like, you know what's my problem? Like I set a goal, and when I achieve it, I just pass it to the side. I'm like, okay, what's next? You know, like thinking back, okay, it's like, wow, I really wanted to win it. But
Yeah.
now I want more, you know. So to me now it feels nothing because I need more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that Toyota was big. And yeah, some top ties I fought in the stadium. They were fun fights. Like they were big fights. You know, I was fighting like, you know, Raj Damden's number 7 or 8 tie in Raj Damden and full packed arena, Boats promotion, the only foreigner. You know, those were exciting times. But
When
yeah,
did the
then,
ties finally get on board with you? How long did that take? As far as like the crowd, the betters, and all
I
that.
gained their respect after one fight. I fought this Thai and we just fucking killed each other. Like for 5 rounds, we smashed each other so much. Like I wouldn't take a step back, and the whole crowd was like, "Wow, who is this foreigner?" And then every time I'd fight, they were like, "Michael." So that's when I created my fan base in Thailand, and they knew who I was.
when you watch your fights, you don't fight like a foreigner. You fight exactly like everyone that comes out of Petchyindee. And I'm not saying like it's a cookie cutter thing, but I'm saying the forward momentum, the use of body shots. That was like one of the first things that I noticed when I was watching at that anniversary show. And I looked at Khalil and I'm like, no ties other than, this gym use body shots like that. And Kurt was just saying, he was like, man, he throws a hell of a hook to the body. And I'm like, yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I love that left hook to the body. I was just teaching that at my gym this week, and then I was watching your highlight videos. I'm like, oh, man, this is the perfect example. Like, body shot.
Thank you, man.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you get in there. Was there any times after you fell in love with it that you were just kind of, is it all been roses and like all great, or is there anything that gets you down when you're out there or anything like that? Because you're still away from home and your family, right?
It's like sometimes, when that Nerdzilla fight is probably one fight that, I was excited to fight him, but I was also tired. Like he was probably my 8th fight in a year, that Nerdzilla fight. So he was, the goal was, we had planned I was going to fight Nerdzilla and then I was going to take a 2-week break. And then after like 1 week before the fight, Bo's like, okay, we're fighting for the Lumpini title in September. I was fucking excited. I was happy, but I was tired. Like, I gave my heart and soul to the Nerdzilla training camp. I was going in there to win. I was going there to beat him. I was 100%. I mean, I trained so much. Like, there was nothing left for me to do. Like, I was sitting there before the fight. I was like, why are you stressed? Why are you stressed? Like, you gave it all. You didn't cheat in training. You didn't do anything. Just go in there and win. But, then I had the other fight. And then I was like, okay, that's another 4 weeks of training. It's another 4 weeks of hard training. I was like, my body's tired. And what are we going to do? But I think now I know, like, when I'm going to feel that, I'm just going to take a week off, calm down my mind, and then get back into it. That's the thing, from every fight, I'm learning, different ways to become better,
Yeah. Do they, I don't know the dynamic of being under contract. Will they let you do that?
Yeah. If you ask it, that's a good thing about Bo. Bo, if you just need to talk to him. You just need to tell him how you feel, and he's beside you, That's it.
He's one of the guys that seems really in tune with the fight, not just the promotion.
Exactly.
You watch him, and like you were saying, he's directing you like literally what punches and combinations to throw. And you see him when he's next to the ring. He's 100% in there with every one of you guys. Like
exactly.
he's yelling the whole time, and you see when he gets pissed, and he just gets the energy that he has, and it's like he's in that ring with you guys. It's amazing.
Exactly.
Have you ever run into what do they call it? Kind of like juice money, like the side bets, like if you knock him out in this round.
I was always close to winning. Like that fight I was telling you in Raja. But that's the thing. Being foreigner, they're harder to get. Mm-hmm. So that fight in Raja, when I was the one I went to war with, round 5, I turned the odds and I was winning, and I was gonna get like a 500,000 baht tip or something. It was a crazy tip because I lost round 3 and 4, and I turned it in round 5, and I was beating him. I gave him everything, like my whole heart. I was just non-stop going forward. I turned the odds around, and then I lost. But I didn't lose to the judges. I lost to the gambling because they don't want me to get the money. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, of course. So, there's these stuff in Muay Thai which are sad, but it is what it is,
Yeah, I've seen like gold necklaces, and if you knock them out in this round, you get a bonus.
Nah, never had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the dynamic of the gambling. People don't really comprehend that because that's not something that you're going to see in the UFC or anything like that, or even like one championship. But even like Max Muay Thai like is very like televised and flashy, and they still have the bettors over there.
Yeah, exactly. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
They just love gambling.
Well, it was funny as
chickens. They gamble with everything.
Exactly.
They just find gambling fun. They just enjoy it.
I remember walking when I was living in Pattaya. I was walking down the street, and there was like a little T-shirt stand or something, and the TV was on the Sunday, so they had the Sunday fights on. And I was like, why are all these cabs here? And like all the cabs are right there. And they were just betting like on all the fights. Like the
Exactly,
cabbies at a t-shirt stand because the TV was on. I was like, man. And I was sitting there watching the fights with them, and they were cool. Like the first time I went to Lumpini, they tried to like, how they do to the foreigners. Oh, you'd have to have a VIP seat to sit next to the floor and blah blah blah. I don't want to sit next to the floor. I'm like, you can't see anything. You're like looking up. And the guy was like, no, you have to have it. And I'm like, no, I want something else. He's like, the only other seats are standing. And I was like, I don't care. And I ended up in Lumpini at the betting section. So I was the only foreigner with all the ties in the betting section. The cement seats that are in the betting section. That's where I was. Oh my God, I loved it. It was great. And like all the ties were talking to me and stuff. And they were just like, first they were like, why the hell's he here? And then, like, there was 3 shows that night. You know how they do the separate shows? There was 3 shows. So it was like 6-7 hours of fights just nonstop. And then you had different crowds that would come in. But it was amazing. And it's like, I don't ever want to be in the tourist section again. Like, it's just not even fun.
I feel, yeah.
And you're doing well. How did the one championship like that opportunity come about? Because
Bo was just like time to like one championship came around. They signed all the Petchyindee fighters, and then they just sent me a contract too. And it was just like, okay, let's start yourself going in one. Because I was already at a stage of my career, like I was already in the big fights in Thailand. Like I was on both big shows and all that. So when one championship came around, it was just like, I was just one of the guys in the gym who got a contract, like both believed in me and put me on one championship and was like, let's go and shine there. And yeah, started off well with Sing Tong Noi, and then the Lerdzila accident. Yeah, and then the Lerdzila accident, and then the Japanese guy, which was another weird fight for me. And then, I'm just trying to adapt to these, because it took me so long to adapt to the stadium rules, and now I have to adapt to the one rules. It's just, it's like I'm changing, like, from fighting in Europe Muay Thai, then changing to Thailand Muay Thai, and then changing to one championship. I'm still trying to learn, it's a whole different game.
What's the biggest difficulty for you with changing from stadium rules to like one rules?
It's just the different fighters you face, I think, and the scoring is different, and the small gloves, and just like it's just different. The feeling is different. I can't explain. When you Muay Thai 5 round, you start round 1 slow, and the one championship round 1 you start fast. I'm trying to learn that too. Like now my training is like first round I'm going crazy, to get used to it.
Yeah.
And you know what? People ask me like, like you prefer the stadiums or that. Yeah, I do prefer the stadiums, of course, and my love is there. But I know this is what's going to help Muay Thai become where it deserves to be.
Definitely.
So that's why I want to become like, now I'm training to like become really good in one championship too. Like not just stadiums. I want to make my name bigger so I can promote the sport more. And just I just want to put my name out there. Like just being the number one, to be honest.
Are you still hunting a stadium belt like the Lumpini belt?
Of course. I always hunt the stadium belt. I always hunt. You know what? I want every prestige Muay Thai title, to be really honest. I want everything in my life. I want to, when I'm older, I just want to sit back, have a beer, and look at all my belts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I visited when I trained at Samart's gym, and I walked in. They have a big room that just has all his belts and all the memorabilia and stuff. And you're like, man, like Raja belts and Lumpini belts from back in the day. And they like, compared to a UFC belt, like if somebody didn't know, they look cheesy, but you look at it and you know what it is. And you're like, oh my God, like that's crazy. And for you to be a fighter, I can only imagine, like that's like the holy grail of exactly, fighting, especially stadium fighting. I mean, to have that, it is just amazing.
Yeah.
And so, like, how many did they give you? Like a certain amount of fights to do in one? The reason I ask is I know when I talked.
No, it's basically a 6-fight contract.
Okay.
So they tell you sign a 6-fight contract, and then you sign, like, you fight whoever they give you, And yeah, what's cool is like to be honest, one thing One Championship has accomplished, which is really cool, and I don't think any sport in the world has accomplished that, is that if you think about it, in every weight, it's only the best fighters in the world now.
Yeah.
And there's only one world champion. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In UFC, you have good fighters in Bellator, good fighters in UFC, and there's 2 world championships. Now in Muay Thai, there's only going to be 1 world champion in each weight, because all the best Thais, all the best foreigners are in it. So it's just, it doesn't get any bigger. Do you get what I mean? That's what excites me now. Like,
definitely.
The world champion in one championship, you are the world champion. It's finished. There's no WBC, WBO, whatever. You know, it's just one belt and one goal.
Yeah, because they're taking everybody, the best of the best.
The best of the best are in it, so it's fun. It's motivating.
How do you feel with the 4-ounce gloves compared to what do you have?
I'm still getting to learn them. I like them. They're cool. They're fun, to be honest. You feel light, you feel cool, but still learning how to use them better.
What does it affect? Does it affect your guard, or does it like?
Yes, you just can't take any punches. A small punch make you dizzy. Your fingers hurt. You know, it's just small mistakes. You know, but there's the good and the bad of everything. You know, but yeah, I'm still getting used to it.
Does it make your clinch easier?
You're not allowed to clinch a lot in one, so it's.
I just want you to fight.
I hope they fix that someday. Because if I could clinch, I could just clinch out with the foreigners easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was watching one of your fights, and you clinched up, and you were just like kneeing the life out of this dude. Like,
yeah, I can clinch good because I've living in Thailand 5 years now, 30 minutes a day, every day, a single day. I feel my clinch is strong. You know. Yeah.
I mean, that would be great with 4-ounce gloves. Is your hands?
That was one. If I could clinch in one, that would be amazing.
Right. So you're gonna go back. I mean, obviously, when things clear up.
I'm waiting for the things to clear up and then to head back. I know you can go now and pay for your quarantine, but I'm a bit like with the quarantine, 14 days. Like, I'm not really good at staying in a room, for 14 days. I think it's gonna bother me a lot. It's a lot, But if it is maybe soon, if it doesn't change and I have no other choice, I think that's what I'm gonna have to do, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, it's like everybody's like, "When are you going back?" I said, "Well, I'm not paying $3,000 to stay at any hotel for 2 weeks in Thailand." That's
problem.
I'm like, that is insane.
And I don't think. But the sad thing is, I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, that, and then if you have to have a vaccination or whatever other stipulations you're going to add on to it, they're gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
As a foreigner, I like to ask. Like, we had John Wayne Parr on. We had Sylvie.
Yeah.
Do you know who Sylvie is?
The woman. Yeah, I know her.
Yeah.
Sylvie. I know.
So we had her on. I like to ask about your Y crew. Like, so is your Y crew, is that from the gym? Or have you incorporated your own things into it?
Yeah, I do my Y crew same as everybody does at the gym, and just I take everything as a because as I say, I respect their culture. It's their beliefs. It's their I'm there to I just respect it. I do everything out of respect. You know what I mean? I'm not the type of foreigner who who's gonna become Buddhist and all that. I'm who I am. I just believe them, trust them, and they're just my family, so I just do it out of respect. I respect the culture. I just follow the gym's Y crew.
So, as a foreigner,
there's foreigners who get obsessed with it. Like they act Thai, but I always say this to a foreigner: you can never be Thai. It's just a fact. You can never be Thai. Some foreigners come to Thailand, they act like they're Thais, and they want to live like Thais, or they want to eat like Thais, and this. What I tell them, if you want to live in Thailand, you want to be able to stay in Thailand, have your own stuff that you like to do, but also adapt to the Thais. Don't try to do one thing only. Do your own stuff that you like have some Western food whenever you can. Have your Thai food, like mix it up.
Yeah. That's great advice.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I like anybody that asks me, they're like, well, is it dangerous or this or that, or
just respect
getting in trouble. Exactly, that's exactly what I said. Like,
you just have to respect in Thailand. That's it, nothing else.
Yeah, if you don't have respect, you're gonna find trouble.
Exactly.
So I'm like, if I've never had a problem anywhere in Thailand.
Same, I never had a problem anywhere too.
4 a.m. in the middle of Bangkok, I could walk around and I would have never had an issue.
Yeah, exactly.
But so, could you walk us through kind of, if you can kind of picture in your mind your Y crew.
Yeah.
So you've obviously been explained exactly what you're doing.
No, I've been doing
Okay.
Y crew since a kid. I mean, I learned it in Cyprus, and that's the thing. That's what I'm trying. Like, you don't go to Thailand and they don't teach you these stuff.
Right.
You don't teach it. They want you to look, and that's what you're gonna do. There's no like, hey buddy, I'll teach you how to do the Y crew.
Yeah.
No, there's no such thing like that. You're fighting in Lupine. I had to dance in the fucking front of the whole crowd. There was no teaching the Y crew. It's just, from YouTube and from just doing it in my head, and that's how I done it. Nobody taught me it, to be honest.
Well, with that many fights, obviously you're proficient at it now.
Exactly, yeah.
So, like, can you walk us through your understanding of what the movements are? Kind of.
I'm not. I do my Y crew a bit different. I mean, the Thais do it for their beliefs, because, I don't know. I can't be Buddhist and I can't be Thai, so I take the Y crew and I just do it something that for me, So I do my own prayers. I'll pray before the fight, just pray to a higher energy and just remember some stuff that motivate me. Just think of like my mom, think of everything, and like, okay, now I'm ready to go. I take it as like that, and then and I also try to take out all the bad energy that's been in the ring. Other people who got knocked out, I just take it all let's cleanse the ring. It's my ring now. It's my ring now. So I take it out like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Because a lot of people have different ideas, and I've talked to Thais that couldn't explain it well in English, and they were like, I'm not telling you what it is, like what actual each movement is, because they
they have a different, it's just different religions and different beliefs.
Yeah. Well, I just asked. I wanted what is these steps that you're doing, and the person that I asked was a crew at a respected gym, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you because it means so much to us, and I don't want to explain it in English wrong. And I'm like, no, I totally respect that. I mean, I understand, and it's such an important thing to them. And Kurt, you got any questions?
Yeah. Kind of the questions I like to ask a lot of the fighters, and I think these ones will be pretty interesting because you've been fighting for so long. Is before you're about to fight, before you're about to compete, how do you handle the nerves, the fear before you go in there? Do you have a process?
Khalil just messaged me on Instagram. All good time to shine. Anyway, so basically it's just the fear is there, right? So what I like to do, which makes me feel better, is just first of all, I train 100%. There's no cheating in training. I won't drink a beer. I won't miss a running. I won't do anything. I'll give my 100% in training, because if I cheat in training, then when I'm sitting down on the chair before the fight, I'll be like, oh, you missed running. You cheated. That's one thing. There's days when when you're training for a fight for, let's say, 2 months, there's a day you're not going to feel good, or there's a day you're going to be lazy and you might not give 100%. So I always tell people give 100%, and there's nothing. Then there's nothing not there. You won't be stressed if you give 100%. You feel relieved. You say to yourself, I've done it all. What's there to be scared of now? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's what I believe.
Nothing really to regret when you put everything in that you could.
Yeah,
that
there's
makes
nothing.
sense.
All you say to yourself, there's nothing to lose now. It's just to get in there and fight and win.
Yeah. That's good advice. The next thing I like to ask is what advice do you have for fighters that are just coming up? So
dedication.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no secret. I mean, people always you just got to do the work. I mean, practice the same stuff every single day. The body kick, the 1-2. Just do it every single day. Just show up at the gym. Be open to learn. Never let your head stop learning. Always want to learn. I say to everybody, I learn from all the coaches. I take something good from every coach has one thing that you can take from. That's what I believe. And I never let myself to stop learning. So I always learn and just practice the same stuff every single day. There's nothing else.
Yeah, that's good advice. I always new guys starting out, they want to like learn the spinning back elbow or something
Yeah.
fancy. It's like,
or
nah, just like 1-2 and body kick, you'll be good.
yeah, exactly. That's all
Yeah.
you need to learn. Just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. And then a couple more. What would you say, like, what loss or just setback do you think that you've learned the most from in your career?
I'd say the Lurtzilla fight.
Lurtzilla fight?
Not because of like what happened has like it's just I learned how to take care of my body a bit more.
Oh,
I overdo it. When I train for a fight, I can overdo it. I'll be sleeping at night and I'll be like, okay, if you don't run tomorrow 15 kilometers in the morning, you're gonna lose the fight. And then I get up and I do 16 kilometers. I do these stuff to myself, which overtrains me, you know?
yeah.
So I learned how to control all these stuff now. Like I learned like when my body needs a rest, it needs a rest. That's it. I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna let it rest, and then the next day I'll push even harder. So that's the only fight that's really I learned how to take care of my body.
And then last one I got for you. Who's your favorite opponent? Who's the person that you most like facing?
That's that like facing. That's a nice one. What do you mean? Like I enjoyed the fight, or was it a hard fight?
Yeah, you enjoyed the fight.
I would say the war. Actually no. So you remember I was telling you guys about the 5-round fight where I made my name in Thailand and I lost by because of the gambling.
Yeah.
So a month later, I rematched the guy, and I knocked him out in round 3, like with a beautiful knockout. Like I visioned that knockout. I gave him a 1-2-3 hook and then a low kick, and then I came up with a hook to the face, and he just went to sleep.
Oh, I think I've seen that on your highlight. You have that on your highlight, right?
On my
Yeah,
highlight.
yeah,
So
that
that's
was
probably
beautiful.
also my sickest knockout ever. And like I visioned it, and I really wanted to knock him out because I was so upset I lost that fight. So that was probably my favorite fight.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that was a good one. I remember that when I seen that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Those are serious, like to see in Thailand. Like one, the referees try to really get in there and take care of the fighter. Like the referee dives in, tries to grab the fighter's head, but then to see the fighter taken out on like the old school cloth stretcher, like that's just wild. Like when they kind of just slide him out of the ring and then they take him by all the people, and you're like,
yeah, that's like
shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that
yeah?
I think I just watched the highlight of that fight, and
yeah,
I mean to get not revenge, but to avenge the fight of the loss that was taken away.
Yeah, I like when I lose a fight, I never let the rematch is always a must win. I've learned from the fights. I don't know, like I learn a lot from a loss too. You know, like I learn how to win the next one.
Yeah.
And I lost 2 fights. I lost I lost one more in the stadium before, and I won him 2 in the rematch. So 2 fights I lost in the stadiums. I won the rematch.
Do you get most rematches with your bigger fights? Like if you lose
in the stadiums, I always get a rematch. Even sometimes if I win, maybe sometimes I'll get a rematch to win again. You know, I beat some Thais twice too, and just in one championship, I think it's hard to get rematches.
Yeah, there's gonna be and one championship
the
has the
guy. I'd love to rematch the Japanese guy. If I could fight him tomorrow, I would show up and fight. You know.
But it's a different dynamic because they're trying to promote the fights. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It has less to do with the actual people that are involved, more with what will sell.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, obviously they want exciting fights, but they're like, well, who's going to pay to see this if they just saw it? Other than who's the next big names. So is there somebody in one that you would like that's the guy you would enjoy a fight with?
To be honest, I wanna because the fight everybody wants is me with Jonathan Haggerty.
Mm-hmm.
All the fans want that fight, and it's gonna happen sooner or later. He's, I think me and his style, we were just gonna collide. So it's gonna bring the absolute war, me and him. But yeah, to be honest, I just want to fight everyone. that's gonna take me to the to fight for the belt and just fight everyone. I mean, they're all exciting fights. The flyweight division is full of. I can't tell you who. I want Haggerty. I want Super. Like I want them all. So it's just like I can't. I'm not even thinking about that now. Now I'm just thinking of like getting stronger, getting better, and then whoever they send, I'm just gonna sign and fight. I'm not even gonna look at the name. You know.
It's just time to go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
I told Cleo to stop bothering you.
Yeah.
Would you want to fight Lidzilla again?
If it comes up, yeah, why not?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as you, like you were saying, you'd like your rematches. I mean, that was a weird fluke.
Yeah, as I said, I fight anyone though. Anyone. I mean, with not even thinking, any single person.
Yeah.
I fight.
I mean, that seems to be more the Thai way, you know.
Exactly.
Like,
that's how I am. I just don't care.
Because
I just want to do it. I just want to fight.
Being a Thai fighter, you guys don't really have a say in who you fight, right?
No,
that's your gym and the promoter.
I don't even talk about who I'm gonna fight. I just train.
Yeah.
My manager comes, he's like, "Hey, you're fighting on the 22nd against him." All right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, they kind of they take care of all that, and you're kind of just doing the job. Yeah, compared to negotiations for fights and all that stuff that happens on the other organizations and MMA and all that stuff. Even on an amateur level in MMA, they still are like, "You want to fight this guy? Do you want to fight this guy?" You're like, "You guys are fighting for no money. Go and fight. Like, build your name."
It's just different mentality, you know.
Yeah. All right, I don't want to keep you too much longer.
Yeah, because I want to go for a run before the curfew. You guys have curfew in the U.S.
I don't.
No, there's no curfew. Not where we're at.
Curfew. Yeah. We have curfew at 9 o'clock. Everybody has to be inside. It's like lockdown.
Man.
The next state over from me has a 9 o'clock curfew. So, like,
amazing.
Literally 10 minutes away, they have a curfew. I don't have.
That's great.
So I have a couple stupid questions that really don't have anything to do with anything. Yeah. One is like, so when you're so militant on obviously your diet, your training, and things like that, is there any like food that pops in your mind? You're like, well, when I'm done with this, I gotta eat this. Do you have like a cheat food that you're like, I know I shouldn't even be eating this, but I want?
I love burritos with guacamole.
Yeah, I'm on the same page.
I love burritos with guacamole. I love it.
All right. And what would be like your go-to movie?
What do you mean, like a movie to watch?
Yeah, like any movie like that sticks out in your head that you like you could watch. If it's on TV, you'd like, oh, I gotta watch this.
A good Rocky movie is always nice. When you watch it from the beginning to the end. I mean, I don't know. You get into it. You know, when you watch the first one, you want to watch the second one.
Oh, yeah, definitely. When I moved over to Thailand, I didn't have cable, but I had my my hard drive that had all the movies on it. And that was like one of the first series I watched while I was like, it's middle of the night. Where am I going to go? And I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to watch Rocky. And that's what happened. Every night I watched the next one. I was like, all right.
It just gets addicting. So that's why I don't know why it came to my mind. I haven't watched it in ages, but just Rocky. A good Rocky is always good. Yeah.
What kind of music are you into?
I really like rap and hip hop. So I'm
like modern rap or
no, I grew up listening to Eminem.
Okay.
And let's say like old school hip hop. I'm always Tupac. All this I've been into since forever.
Nice. What else do we ask? All right, here's one. This is super important, and I need the most honest answer you have.
Yeah.
You believe in aliens?
Of course. Yeah, I do.
Where are they?
Well, they're probably
have they
here
come?
With us. I don't know.
Have they come?
I guess they're. Yeah, of course they did.
All right.
I believe in that, of course. I've done my research on that.
Everybody we have on, it seems like Muay
Almost
Thai
everybody
fighters.
said yes.
Yeah, it seems like
Muay Thai fighters. Believe in aliens, I believe you're fucking stupid. No offense, but it's just. How can you not? If you just think about it outside the box, you know how many dimensions are out there and all that shit. How can you not believe in it? It's just.
That's what I say. I always say like.
You just need to do a little bit of research, and then you're gonna believe in it.
Just think. Like I always say, like.
First, just think, and then do this much research, and you're gonna find it.
I always tell everyone, like, dolphins can talk to each other.
Exactly.
Come on, you don't think that there's something like they could be aliens? We don't know.
We don't know. We don't.
Right? Other than that, I hope you get a great run in, man.
Thank
Michael.
you so much.
I should call you Michael because it says it in there.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
That was
Thank you. Where are you? You're in Las Vegas now, right?
Kurt's near Las Vegas. I lived in Las Vegas. I'm actually in New Hampshire because when I come back to the States, I just stay at my sister's house. So I'm like, I was only going to be here for a couple months, and fuck, who knows when I get to go
there.
So that's where I'm at now.
Also, you own a gym.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I own a gym.
Yep. Yeah, he has a Muay Thai gym up near north of Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's up.
I'll come to the US one day. I have to come.
Oh yeah.
I quite got a good I know a lot of people there, and I keep getting invited. I just never done it.
Sure. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. You got to do a seminar.
Yeah, that's what everybody says. I have to come do a seminar. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just never thought I don't know if it's gonna I don't know do I have enough people to do it? I don't know how big my fan base is to do.
Oh yeah. I think you do it for sure.
Yeah, as far as Muay Thai, people know who you are. You kind of stick out.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it. I'll do it for sure one day. And not only I would like to come train with different fighters. Learn.
Yeah.
What? You learn from everything.
Yeah.
Savvas, man, have a wonderful run. Thank you so much for joining us, man. And we'll talk to you later. All right, buddy.
Amazing, Steve. Take care, guys. Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Later.
Bye-bye.
Thank you once again for listening to the #1 combat sports podcast, the Fight Chase Muay Thai and MMA podcast. You can follow us on Fight Chase on all the social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And also, don't forget you can support us at any time going to the anchor.fm/fightchase, hit the support icon, and you can support us for as little as 99 cents a month. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And Kurt, don't say boom.
Boom.
The big kibosh! Lobs out moisture, seals in freshness. Good night, Irene. Double hammer fist! Double hammer fist! Double hammer fist! Seconds remaining for a great survival story! She survived! It's good night, freaking Irene!
Hey guys, Kelly from Fight Chase. So today what I want to talk to you guys about is Project 52. Project 52 is a new project that I'm going to embark on hopefully July, August type of time when I get back over to Thailand. So most of you have known I left Las Vegas, came to New Hampshire, and then was basically living in Thailand. Came back for some visa stuff to the States, and COVID hit. So now here we are, over a year later, and we're just waiting for the travel restrictions and things like that to kind of ease back so I can get back to Thailand. But today we're talking about Project 52. Project 52 is something that I have dreamt up that I want to do, and I want to do with all of you. And what it is there's 52 weeks in a year, and I'm going to visit 52 gyms in 1 year. So what I'm going to do is 1 gym a week for 1 year. These are 52 different locations all over Thailand. I want to go up north. I want to visit some gyms that people may have never heard of. There's so many gyms that people have never heard of. So I want to I'll bring you to the big gyms. I'll bring you to the small gyms that maybe no one's ever seen. I'll just do these research and find these gyms and bring you guys to that. So this is a project that obviously I can't do on my own, as far as I'm going to be doing all the recording, all the editing, all of the research, scheduling, traveling, all of this on my own. The only thing that I'm going to need you guys to do, other than enjoy all the content, is the financial part. And if I had the money, honestly, I would just do it on my own. So I've set up a few different things that if somebody wants to help back this and kind of join in on the journey, is we have t-shirts. T-shirts really don't do much as far as put too much in the money. If you buy a t-shirt, I believe I make probably $5, but that $5 is appreciated. It'll go right into the fund for the project. While I'm doing this whole project, I'll be doing writing an ebook on the travel, on the experience, and probably on maybe all the gyms and then section them. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go. So again, that'll be one of the products that's going to come out of this. I'm going to be doing I'm looking over here, I apologize, it's where my notes are. I'm going to be doing a video of the training from each gym, just like I do now, but this is 52 gyms. Weekly content will be put out. So if I go to a new gym, you'll have a new video of the gym, kind of a tour of the gym. You'll have a new video of the training at the gym. You'll have more artistic line photos with my nice DSLR. I'm going to take photos of each location. You've seen some of the gyms that I've done, and I did it at some Arts Gym. I did it at 13 Coins. I've done some at Fairtex, like real nice high resolution, kind of more artsy type photos that people can enjoy, like Instagram looking photos. So you'll have a weekly journey recap. So it'll be me talking about how I got to these places. If you ever travel around Southeast Asia, you sometimes will get into cabs or a bus or a specific kind of vehicle to get somewhere that's not really known to other people. So it's part of the journey. I rode a bus in Cambodia that had no seats. They had bunks, and it was like an overnight bus. And after I rode it, everyone was like, "Oh, it's super dangerous," and I'm like, it wasn't very comfortable either. So, like I said, we have the shirts. They're available through fightchase.com, the shop, and it's Project 52 shirts. Obviously, any of the other shirts there, they also will benefit this project because this is where all my money's going to go. I'm going to be doing a Patreon. It's already set up. So the Patreon, you have different levels of support, anywhere from $10 up to, and it's a monthly subscription, so you'd be paying, that amount of money going towards the project monthly. I also want to do a GoFundMe, kind of to get the project known, and you'll be able to donate there, like a one-time thing. The Patreon is an overtime thing, and there's different tiers, and the different tiers give you different things. Like, there's a tier that you'll get a t-shirt, there's a tier that your name will be in the credits to all the videos, there's a tier that you're the main sponsor. Then you're basically, your brand company, and or if it was an individual person, would be marketed alongside of Fight Chase as the journey would be brought to you by them. I kind of think of it similar as like if an athlete was sponsored by Nike, they're their main sponsor, and that's who's giving them the financial backing to embark on their journey. So that's kind of the financial steps as far as I have figured out so far. All of these will be set up. Like I said, the Patreon set up. We have Venmo and all that stuff. So if you just wanted to kind of donate a few bucks or something like that, that you could send that over to me, and it goes directly to this fund. This fund isn't going to be used to anything else other than making this 52 gyms in 1 year, 52 weeks, a success. Another thing that we'll be doing as me, but if you help donate, you're part of this project. You're going to embark on this experience with me. You could even dictate kind of where you want to see next. If I'm in a certain region, if you've heard of a certain gym, you're like, hey, can you try this? Another thing that I want to do, I have a lot of friends now. I have a lot of friends in the industry. I have a lot of fighter friends. I have a lot of friends that go on vacation to Thailand. They're like, oh, I'm going to go for the Muay Thai holiday. Great. Hit me up. You can become part of this project. You will be with me. I'll take you to a gym. We'll record the whole thing. You'll be a special guest. I'm going to have some of my friends that are there, athletes, fighters, and things like that, join me on these things. So you'll have a different point of view. You can have me as a trainer from the States, as a enthusiast, my point of view of the gym, and then you could have in the same episode a UFC athlete, their point of view of the gym. So it's going to be kind of like a whole series. I mean, this is 52 weeks. 52 weeks is more than most of your TV shows will put out episodes weekly. That we'll be putting this content out. Me, along with your help. So I'm trying to. Anything else? I apologize. I'm just trying to speak and let you guys know exactly what I'm trying to do. So you've seen a couple of posts that I've had up about Project 52. This is Project 52. Me, back in Thailand. 52 gyms, 52 weeks. Okay? 1 year of training. That's it. Now, you get to watch it. You get to have a say on where we go. You get to enjoy the experience. You get to see the ups and downs. There's going to be possibly injuries and sicknesses, or who knows? You know, it's a crazy adventure. All of this will be put out in video content weekly. And, you know, this is something that I like to do. The reason I started Fight Chase is to get people to understand that getting over to like Thailand or wherever your ideal destination is, it's not that hard. When we talk about Thailand, like on the podcast, so I started Fight Chase after a few trips over to Thailand, and Fight Chase was fightchase.com. If you've gone there, that's just my gym reviews, product reviews, where I came from. It's kind of like the epicenter of Fight Chase. And then I started the brand. So we had Fight Chase shop. So that's just where you can get merchandise like this. Ooh, if you know this logo, shame on you. That's okay. I know it too. And all sorts of different like cool martial arts type of shirts and things like that. I have hoodies, and these are all designed by me. I come up with the designs, I figure them out. I've learned Photoshop, same as I've learned all my editing for doing the YouTube channel. Learned how to edit all the videos, and that's gone over to the podcast. We've had amazing guests on the podcast. If you haven't listened to the Fight Chase podcast, check that out. We've had John Wayne Parr, Khalil Roundtree Jr., we just had, I mean, we have so many episodes that I haven't even put out yet that are amazing fighters, and I have DJ Jackson, I have, I have Mark Matthews from Ink Master, I have, Savvas Michael from One Championship. We have so many people coming up, and we've had so many amazing episodes that are already out, so check those out. But I've learned how now we're putting out videos with those, okay? So I've learned that aspect of it. And what I do with all this is I just want to give you information to help you maybe take a step to make a journey to see that we need to be out and we need to experience things, you need to meet new people, experience cultures, travel. Like, we're not made just to do the 9 to 5 and be stuck in your house like we have them. So they couldn't think of a better time to really go for this ambitious project. Is as soon as I'm able to travel, to be out of this situation again and back into where I'm the happiest in Thailand, I want to bring all of you with me. I want to bring everyone with me. If you don't even help support this financially, please just join the journey. But this video is just me trying to show you the passion that I have, explain the journey, what we're going to have to do to make it happen. Got to make some money, unfortunately, but people get money to play video games on TV, so I was hoping that we can make this get rolling. I have a few businesses that are looking to come on board. I mean, I've always had great hope product-wise with like Defense Soap and a few other brands that have kind of given me product support. So this is going to be a big thing. That it's going to be a financial thing. All of my money is going to go to it for the next year to make it happen. And that's what it is. Project 52, guys. Let's get it happening. If you come to Thailand, you're part of the show. If you're at home, you're enjoying the show. So thanks you guys for listening. Hope you understand how much this means to me, and let's make it happen. Have a great day.